Mystery of Sirius in ancient Egypt, an extraterrestrial civilization who visited us from there. For the ancient Egyptians, the Sirius star played the most important role. Their calendar was sophistically based on the rising of Sirius. The ancient Egyptians often associated Sirius with the goddess Isis, especially in its capacity as a signal that the Nile flood was on the way. The star could also be connected to Osiris, as well as Anubis and the goddess of Sirius, Sopdet, whose name means, she who is sharp. She brought fertility to the soil and was the consort of the entity known as Sa, the constellation Orion. One can see around 2,500 to 3,000 stars from a total of 5,000 visible stars with naked eyes. In many ancient myths, religions, and cultures, the stars are often associated with mysteries and the history of mankind. Planets and stars influenced a lot our ancestors to study human nature and future predictions, which in turn influenced us. Around 2,400 years ago, astrology originated in Babylon far back in antiquity, with the Babylonians developing their own form of horoscopes. If we look in the night sky, many stars are dimmed and not clearly visible, but due to its brightness, twinkling and color-changing properties, it sometimes prompts people to report Sirius as a UFO. Author Robert K. G. Temple writes in his book, The Sirius Mystery, as follows. We know that the companion of Sirius is, in reality, Sirius B. It is conceivable that Osiris as Orion, the companion of Sirius, is a stand-in for the invisible true companion Sirius B. The oldest and simplest form of the name, of Osiris, we are told, is a hieroglyph of a throne and an eye. The Bozo tribe of Mali, related to the Dogon, call Sirius B, the eye star. Since Osiris is represented by an eye and is sometimes considered the companion of Sirius, this is equivalent to saying that Osiris is the eye star, provided only that one grants the premise that the existence of Sirius B really was known to the ancient Egyptians and that the companion of Sirius therefore could ultimately refer to it. The meanings of the Egyptian hieroglyphs and names for Isis and Osiris were unknown to the earliest dynastic Egyptians themselves, and the names and signs appear to have a pre-dynastic origin, which means around or before 3200 BC, in other words, 5,000 years ago at least. The dog star is a common designation of Sirius throughout known history. The ancient god Anubis was a dog god, that is, he had a man's body and a dog's head. The Sirius Mystery. New scientific evidence of alien contact 5,000 years ago by Robert Temple. The author further stated that according to Greek philosopher Plutarch, Anubis was really the son of Nephthys, sister to Isis, although he was said to be the son of Isis. Plutarch said that Anubis was a horizontal circle, which divides the invisible part, which they call Nephthys, from the visible, to which they give the name Isis. And as this circle equally touches upon the confines of both light and darkness, it may be looked upon as common to them both. This is as clear an ancient description as one could expect of a circular orbit, called Anubis, of a dark and invisible star, called Nephthys, around its sister, a light and visible star, called Isis. And we know Isis to have been equated with Sirius. Actually, Anubis and Osiris were sometimes identified with one another. Osiris, the companion of Isis, who is sometimes the companion of Sirius, is also sometimes identified with the orbit of the companion of Sirius, and this is reasonable and to be expected. Ancient Egyptians portrayed Isis as Sirius in their paintings as traveling with two companions in the same celestial boat. According to some astronomers, there are companions of Sirius, Sirius B and Sirius C. To the Arabs, a companion star to Sirius, in the same constellation of the Great Dog, was named Wait, and was supposed to be extremely heavy, even too heavy to rise over the horizon. The true companion star of Sirius, Sirius B, is made of super-dense matter which is heavier than any normal matter in the universe, and the weight of this tiny star is the same as that of a gigantic normal star. There are many divine names and other points in common between ancient Egypt and ancient Sumer, Babylonia. The chief god of Sumer, named Anu, was pictured as a jackal, which is a variation of the dog motif and was also used in Egypt for Anubis, the dog and the jackal apparently being interchangeable as symbols. The famous Egyptologist Wallace Budge was convinced that Sumer and Egypt both derived their own cultures from a common source which was exceedingly ancient. Anu is also called a variation, by the Sumerians. Remembering that Plutarch said that Anubis, Anpu in Egyptian, was a circle, it is interesting to note that in Sanskrit the word anda means ellipse. This may be a coincidence. The Egyptians used the name Horus to describe the power which is assigned to direct the revolution of the sun, according to Plutarch. Dogon and Sirius. These very first inhabitants of our planet were ethereal spirits. They are often referred to as watermasters, observers, and even teachers. How do the Dogon know such cosmic facts? The Earth was indeed visited by alien guests. Or there was some highly developed civilization on Earth in ancient times, and all the Dogon knowledge came from it.